Hello everyone, welcome to Samba Souq once again. Today the environment here is different. I am alone in the studio, and the idea of doing that here is because I want to bring to you the insights of something I've been doing during the summer. I've been traveling to 4 or 5 different cities, understanding more the culture in these places that will definitely guide and help entrepreneurs, enthusiasts in global expansion, understanding cultural fluency in each of these places, and providing some insights to founders who need to adapt the product, the service, the funding opportunities in each of these markets. But it all starts from a good amount of listening skills, I would say, and observing and staying quieter to really absorb the movement of these places, because it makes a big difference in the success of any opportunities for international expansion. We've been doing the first season in Dubai. These are videos with founders, with serial entrepreneurs, strategic advisors to government authorities in Dubai, founders that are expats but also Emiratis. So it's a very nice mix. Conglomerates, growing businesses. It's very diverse and very rich, but they all bring a very good sense of vision and ambition of the country and the opportunities that you can find there. Now, I came all the way here to Belgium, where I am recording this podcast, because there are so many opportunities that were hidden gems when I saw it from far away. And I decided to take the leap of faith and come here and give the example. If I always say that founders, if they want to work in a market, they need to come and see and taste it and feel it, that's exactly what I'm doing. And I'm going to share with you a few of these insights. What we believe in Samba Souq is that every market has its own movement. They're always moving with challenges, macroeconomic shifts, or just their day-to-day, their routine. So the dynamics are always put in the place to move. People, they set the rhythm, they set the pace of these markets. We started connecting Brazil and the Middle East, but honestly, every place has a vibrant market, and that's why we're here for. So there are a few places that I've seen. I've seen Belgium, I've seen the UK, I've seen Brazil, but talking more specifically about São Paulo, and the UAE, talking more specifically about Dubai. And what I found is this: that markets, they have their own rhythm. They move with change. Change is always there. Change is a constant. When you have change and people have to adapt, you coming from overseas in a new market, or people in this market that need to continue thriving, it requires grit. As many of you here are expanding internationally or will expand internationally, your job is not to force the beat that is set in these places. You know, you come with your own pace, you come with your own rhythm, and the idea is for you not to try to force it in this new market, but also to understand what is the pace there, that with yours, you can either challenge them, you can either merge with them. So let me take you through what I found. Let's start with Belgium, as I'm here. Look, Belgium is not a quiet power. It's a precision-based country. They create their own things. They consume a lot of their own local market, but they get inputs from everywhere. And they know how to take advantage of, let's say, the underdogs of other countries and make it very nice and funky and their own here in Belgium. You have amazing singers and artists and bands. Although internationally we may not know them fully, but one of them that many people are aware is Stromae, and in many other styles, many other types of singers and artists. They're not really loud about what they do, but what they do is really cool. So what I noticed is they were really inspired by and admiring the loudness of Brazil, the loudness of Dubai. And they are not as loud as other cultures, but they are way cooler, way trendier, and they're trendsetters, to be honest. Not only in the music space or art space, but also in the tech space. Because if you see here, they have their top 3 in terms of production and exports of vaccines, of health-related products, logistics. They're also one of the best in the world. So there are many sectors, you know, clean tech, biotechnology, food tech, that they are leading the space, and very few people know it. Maybe in Europe they're more aware of the potential of Belgium, but overseas, in Brazil, in Dubai, it's really hard for you to understand what they're doing here, because they do with quality, they do with a lot of strength, although quiet, but they see the need of making it louder. They do recognize from the interactions that I had, they do recognize the need of promoting better what they're doing and having more ownership about, like, being proud of what they're doing here. It's designed for the long run, this place here. They are betting in innovations and infrastructure for companies that will invent things that will last for 20, 30 years, that will be ready only 5 years down the road. So this is very strategic, this is very long-term. It's to be here and to stay. And I really like that, because it's less hype and more durability. Let's put it this way. Let me see what I took note here. Cross-collaboration. I noticed that because you have people from so many different walks of lives here, they believe in the power of collaboration. So this is something that I would definitely recommend when you come here. Look for partners. Don't look just to do your own way or bring your team from abroad to set up here. You need someone that understands the local market for sure. Growth is always not linear, but it's intentional. So when you put intention, no matter how long it takes, no matter the hurdles along the way, you will make it. But you need to have this commitment, and you need to absorb as much as you can in terms of intel, knowledge, and experiences to be able to understand the best way to move forward. Now let's talk about the UK. I didn't have the same experience in the UK, but honestly, that was amazing, guys. This is what I saw. People are not afraid of being who they are. People have a voice there already. They are a good mix of having a voice and having the robustness that Belgium actually builds. So I quite like it. But I feel that the situation now is making people in the UK a little bit uncomfortable. I feel that being different there is an asset. They are brave by being original. They celebrate that. If you go to a place and you usually look for adaptation, sometimes it's in your advantage to have your own style, to have your own personality, and that's going to be standing out in the crowd, which is exactly what you need, especially when you come for the first time. You want to be noticed. You want people to see you. And I would recommend us to embrace each time more our differences, because that's what makes us us, right? So this is my 2 cents that I learned about London. And if you're similar to everybody else, you're not bringing much, right? So do embrace the differences instead of trying to fit in. Now let's talk about São Paulo. São Paulo is my hometown, for those who don't know. Although my name is Russian, you know, people always get confused. They see me as an Arab face with a Russian name, but Brazilian blood. What a mix, right? No wonder that I live in Dubai if I'm so mixed like that, because Dubai is very cosmopolitan. But we'll get about Dubai in a minute. So São Paulo is my home country, and I know already it's chaotic, creative. It's a growing up baby, I would say. And why I say that? Because not only São Paulo, the whole country, explore the opportunities domestically, because the country is so big, right? We have a vast land of opportunities within the country. And many executives and global leaders that came from Brazil, they encouraged that for many years. They used to say, as mentors to a new generation of founders that before you go abroad, before you look global, explore your country, dominate your market, which they're quite, reasonable in their statement. However, this is the angle that I bring to you. The world has changed. The world now is totally different, and we don't have the luxury of waiting so much. Time is luxury. Time is money. It's the most valuable asset that one can have. So I definitely encourage you guys to, as soon as you start growing in your domestic market, if you are in São Paulo, but that applies also to other places, start looking abroad. Yes, start exploring overseas. You know why? Despite how big your country is, if your country is big enough and you could potentially be comfortable in that, be sure that foreign companies, foreign investors are coming in because you have a big market. So technically we don't have that much of an option. So if you're born in São Paulo or Dubai, Brazil or the UAE, you definitely need to consider overseas. The difference that it makes is the timing that you're going to allocate to go overseas. So it's not about if I'm going abroad, it's about when I'm going abroad. And this is extremely important. I also see in São Paulo a kind of resilience that I haven't seen anywhere in the world. Brazil is constantly changing, it's always at the verge, it's always up and down, it's always full of hope and promise and potential that the country will do extremely well. Sometimes it does, but sometimes we suffer, sometimes we don't. And this up and down, it's tiring. It's mentally exhausting to founders that they need to figure out ways to continue going and prove themselves that they are bringing quality and they're bringing innovation on a global scale. So I do see a need of resilience and grit that is additional to the resilience and grit that we see elsewhere. And that's why it makes us, and I'm putting myself in it, of course, so great entrepreneurs and founders, because we figure it out. We will find a way. And that's beautiful. That's beautiful from Brazilian founders. And because of that, we understand another lesson that is very important. Done is better than perfect. I was talking to people here in Belgium. They are really concerned in doing perfect before going to market. And we know startup ecosystem always says, do the basics, do your prototype, your MVP, and enhance along the way. Brazilians, they know how to do that very well. Movement is survival. And we were just talking about how important it is to have this resilience with the market going up and down, the economy. So putting yourself in movement is not a luxury. It's actually a requirement if you are building a company in São Paulo. And respecting the local logic of things. You may not have a user manual to be able to operate your company, but it will work because you're going to roll your sleeves and make it happen. That's what São Paulo taught me. That makes you keep going no matter what. And I think that this is all that is about, to be honest, when I think of São Paulo. So that's my take. And then talking about my beloved UAE, talking about Dubai, which I lived there for 14, 15 years now, heading to 15. Look, what to say about Dubai, Dubai always blew me away, and it will continue blowing me away because it's not only about skylines and deadlines, because it's like a pace that we're not used to. It's something out of this world, to be honest. The rhythm of that place, the speed, the timing of things, people underestimate it because it's not the same in other places. Even when I go to São Paulo, when it's already a dynamic city, I feel slow. I go back and I see places that are there since when I left the country. And I was like, wow, in Dubai, things are changing constantly. So I noticed that the pace of things, the habits are always the same in São Paulo, which is a big city. But in Dubai, they completely change. Demographics change. Neighborhoods change. We have a saying which is very funny. Every time that you go abroad for a business trip, even if it's a 1-week trip that you take, when you get back to Dubai, you always see and try to compare what's new. What did they build? And you can see there is a new supermarket, a new mall, a new district. And it's exactly this way. Every time I make this fun experiment, I always discover new things that they've done that I didn't notice. And even if it's like a 2-week break or something like that. So it's very interesting. And AI, architecture, green tech, luxury, the luxury culture that is installed in Dubai, they all move in sync. You don't see either one or another. It's actually, they know how to bring an experience that involves all senses, that involves all dynamics that it's needed in the future. So it's very forward-looking. There is a national appetite for experimentation, if you see it this way. Even the Emirati culture, which is 11% of the population, they are so open to new ideas. They give you space. The guests that we had in our podcast, they are just amazing. Really, it's I have no words to describe how embraced I felt and how much they loved the concept of our podcast. So when they like it, when it's something that is for the greater good, let's put it this way, it's always very welcoming. Excellence is expected for sure, but so is adaptability. Because it's so fast-paced, because you attract a lot of people for power and money, let's confess. The whole world is looking at this place in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia as well, but they come to the UAE. This is the mentality as well in most of the occasions. But adaptability is really important because you will always have someone that is more powerful than you, faster than you, coming from more experience than you. And what's going to make you stay and do well is your cleverness, let's say. It's your adaptability. It's you going to market, learning faster than others, and then having things flourishing. And I do encourage that you do things with excellence as much as you can and improve along the way again, but adapt and adapt. So real estate is location, location, location. For you to do well in Dubai, I would say Intel, and adapt. These are going hand in hand in anything that you try to do there. The world rewards bold bets. Dubai is not the easiest place for you to start, not because it's difficult, quite the opposite. It's really easy for you to start a business there, to invest in Dubai, to invest in the whole country, in the UAE. But it takes a bold bet. You gotta embrace risk. You gotta put yourself in movement. It will require bold movements from you, but you're gonna get rewarded once you crack the code for these bold bets. But you need to be aware that you're gonna need it. It is required. Otherwise, if you just come to test and if you feel it's not gonna happen, you leave, technically you're never coming in. You gotta come and stay and develop the market. Trust is a basic need. So in the Darwin's priorities, the pyramid of Darwin, the survival kit, I would say that you need to have a strength of character. Your character, the trust that you bring to the table, which is your credibility and your confiability, is crucial. If you try to step on people's toes, if you try to, deceive people along the way, you're not going to last long. I'm so sorry to say that if that was your intention, but you're going to get extremely exposed when it happens and the market talks. So we always validate the credibility of people with our peers, with the connections that we have. More and more, this is going to be difficult. Maybe in the past it was too easy to get away with that. Not anymore. So the game changed, and I think this is important for companies to understand that. Bring your best version. This is one of the best practices from Dubai. and this is something important here that I took note, do not wait and see. Do not come testing, but be shy about it until the time is right. If you put your feet there in the market, if you spoke to a few people, just be ready to be very quick, move and learn along the way. These are a few takeaways. I do encourage you guys to follow us in our social media. We have Spotify, we have a YouTube channel, we have Instagram page, we have TikTok, and LinkedIn as well. So all of them, we have our handle. It's at Samba Souq. Very complicated, huh? This is the type of content that we bring here, always with the lenses of cultural fusion. We are about vibrant markets. We don't call emerging markets because vibrant markets are everywhere. And vibrant markets, they have a rhythm. They move in a specific pace, in a specific beat. That's what we believe in. And it's all related to their culture, to the market dynamics. This is what we always explore when we go overseas. And that's how we support global expansion of companies as well. Now, very quick tips. Localize beyond language. So understand the cultural nuances, listen, observe, and do not just translate the opportunity that you have in hands to these people. Do bring your customized tone, bring your own voice, bring your identity to that. Lead with your story instead of your pitch. So important, because people buy vision, right? They're not partnering with a deck. They're partnering with a human behind it. Don't try to blend in. Better to have your own mojo. People like it. Even if you say, wow, but I work with money, I work with investments and finance, and I'm a lawyer. Yes, you are. But guess what? People love, in these gatherings, in these networking opportunities, people always engage about funny stories, about their lives, about the social aspect of things, something light to buffer out the toughness of each industry. And I think that it's important to have your own identity, but your mojo. Like, what are you here for? What's your voice? Why are you so different that I should pay attention to you? Understanding how to adapt locally, in many cases, is more important than having a replicable model. And why do I say that? Because there is this methodology from Y Combinator that says you have to have a replicable model to expand internationally and grow tenfolds and scale fast and become a unicorn and whatever. There are a few industries that this applies and applies brilliantly, right? So, supportive industries or infrastructure type of businesses, a software that you can replicate easily and so on. But there are many types of businesses that when they come to a market, they think they need a replicable model. They think that's what they are, but in fact, they need a lot of adaptation. In Brazil, it's without a saying, you have to, the culture in Brazil really absorbs you to consume local content and local products and services. So by default, a replicable model is difficult, but it's possible, depending on the business, as I said, but you do have a local scene that is really strong. I love replicable models, but I do see the value of adaptation, and I bring this to you so you can treat this well and with care. And find allies on the ground, because if you are not from this country, you need local expertise. It doesn't help you much if you bring an amazing rock star from US in a retail business or in the AI space, if they don't understand the local nuances in the market, culturally to engage with people, market dynamics, regulations in the country. So really someone that can navigate through all of this is going to be a shortcut in a positive way, because you don't have time to waste. You want to make sure that you calculate the risks that you have. Now, to every founder in this channel listening to this, if you feel that you have challenges that you'd like to address, that you'd like to understand, either about the process of internationalization or about geographies, talk to us. We're here to understand what you're looking for, how we can actually bring answers to your questions in a more dynamic way, right? Because talking about global expansion and seeing how people grow overseas is kind of boring. You have so many people talking about business. Let's talk about things that really matter to founders, investors that are looking overseas, and bring some clarity. We need answers, we need clarity, and that's why we're here for. So without further ado, I can see that I finished my notes, and I thank you all for listening to this session here. This is a buffer session between season 1 in Dubai and season 2 in Belgium. We're going to be producing soon, and I invite you all. You are special here. I invite you all to watch our content, give your honest feedback. We try to be as authentic as possible and to bring you opportunities. Really, there are opportunities everywhere. Markets are pulsing, they have their rhythm, and we invite you to move along. Thank you so much.